The blackout lasts 14 seconds on the official incident report. Jimena knows that because she reads the report 3 times afterward, sitting on the floor of Patty's apartment with every mirror covered and both of their phones sealed inside a mixing bowl full of water. 14 seconds. That is what the report says. Signal loss occurred at 11:58:42. Signal restored at 11:58:56. No broadcast content affected. No public safety issue identified. Temporary routing instability resolved. 14 seconds sounds small on paper. It does not sound long enough for something to enter a production tent in the middle of Chapultepec, stand 3 meters behind a 23-year-old camera operator, learn the shape of her head from behind, reach for the cable at the base of her neck, and then follow her home through every dark screen in Mexico City. But 14 seconds is enough. The first rule of the blackout was simple. Do not look at the camera feeds. Constanza tells her that at 11:58, with the whole monitor wall going black, with the network handoff to Guadalajara less than 2 minutes away, with 8,000 people outside in the Bosque de Chapultepec watching monarch butterflies drift over the grass like loose orange ash. Jimena, Constanza says through the headset, her voice lower than Jimena has ever heard it. Whatever stays on, do not look at it. 5 panels die at once. Drone black, tripod black, shoulder rig black, gimbal black, close-up platform black. Only the 6th panel stays alive. There should not be a 6th panel. There should not be a 6th camera. There should not be a live feed showing Jimena from behind, at her own eye level, from 3 meters back, with the monitor wall in front of her repeating the same image again and again inside itself. Constanza says, "Do not look," but Jimena is already looking. On the screen, something behind her takes 1 step closer. In the real tent, behind her chair, there is nothing. Beto sees nothing. Patty sees nothing. Constanza sees nothing. But on the 6th panel, the thing that is not there lifts 1 hand. It does not touch Jimena's shoulder. It reaches for her headset cable. And in the last second before Patty rips the power cord from the monitor and the screen dies, Jimena understands the worst part. The thing is not watching the cameras. It is watching the person who chooses where everyone else looks. 20 minutes earlier, the morning is perfect. Jimena Robles Aguilar is 23 years old, working the monitor wall inside a portable production tent on the upper terrace of the Bosque de Chapultepec. And the broadcast is going so smoothly that she is starting to distrust it. Live production is never supposed to feel smooth. Live production is heat, dust, bad cables, sweating batteries, delayed earpieces, people walking in front of lenses, talent missing marks, drone clearance, sun glare, dead radios, crying children, and someone putting a paper cup of coffee exactly where it can spill into the cable run. Today, somehow, everything is behaving. The 2024 Monarch Butterfly Festival opened at 10. By late morning, the lower meadow is packed. Families stand shoulder to shoulder under the trees. Children hold out their palms. Vendors move along the paths with cups of fruit, elotes, and aguas frescas. Monarchs drift between the ahuehuete trees and the agapanthus beds, landing on hats, wrists, camera lenses, stroller handles, and one old man's white mustache, which has already become the stream's most replayed clip of the morning. The platform numbers are good, the chat is kind, the weather is clean. Even Constanza Velez has said nice twice. For Constanza, that is applause. Jimena stands at the back of the tent, 1 hand on the mouse, 1 hand near the intercom panel, headset pressing her hair flat behind her ears. In front of her, 6 screens. Camera 1 is the drone. Camera 2 is the locked wide tripod at the south meadow. Camera 3 is Beto's shoulder rig. Camera 4 is Tonatiu's gimbal in the crowd. Camera 5 is the close-up platform, where the butterfly keeper is explaining wing patterns to a group of schoolchildren. The sixth screen is program output, the cut feed currently going out to the audience. 6 panels, 5 cameras, 1 program. Simple. Jimena built the routing herself on Wednesday. She patched every line, labeled every return, tested every converter, and argued with one HDMI splitter until it finally admitted it was dead. She knows the rig. Beto, she says into the headset. Lift 4 degrees. Slow. Family with the baby, not the dog. Somewhere in the crowd, Beto lifts camera 3 4 degrees and finds the baby. The baby reaches for a monarch resting on his mother's wrist. The mother laughs. The butterfly opens and closes its wings exactly once, as if it has been paid. Hold, Constanza says from behind Jimena. Jimena repeats it into comms. Hold. The director in the truck, Rafa, cuts from the drone to Beto's shot. Program output matches camera 3. Clean. Beautiful. Eso, Constanza says. Then her hand rests briefly on Jimena's shoulder. Half a second. That is the closest Constanza comes to affection during a live event. Jimena allows herself to breathe. Then camera 2 changes. It does not glitch. It does not flicker. It does not lose signal. One frame shows the south meadow from the correct tripod angle. The next frame shows the same meadow from somewhere else. Lower. Closer. 4 meters left of the tripod. At the eye level of a person standing in the grass. Jimena's eyes move from camera 2 to the program output, then back again. Program is still on camera 3. Camera 3 is clean. Camera 2's dedicated panel is wrong. She says, Constanza. Constanza hears the tone and comes immediately. What? 2. Constanza looks at the wall. She says nothing for 3 seconds. That's not 2. No. Patch error? No. Are you sure? I built the patch. Constanza picks up the truck line. Rafa, what do you have on 2? Rafael Murguia answers from the production truck behind the tent. Annoyed but not worried yet. Wide south meadow. Cut 2 to preview. Previewing 2. The preview in the truck comes back normal. But on Jimena's dedicated camera 2 panel, the view remains wrong. Same meadow. Same people. Same butterflies. Different eye. Constanza says, Rafa, do not put 2 to program. Why? Because 2 is not 2. There is a pause. Connie, I need better words. So do I. Don't cut to it. Patty Dominguez, Jimena's best friend, sits in the open tent flap on a folding chair, with her shoes off, eating a tlacoyo from a paper napkin. She has come to watch, because Jimena invited her, and because Patty thinks live broadcasting is glamorous, in the way only people who have never had to troubleshoot live broadcasting think. Patty looks up at the monitor wall. Why is that one moving like a person? No one answers, because now that she has said it, they all see it. The wrong camera 2 angle is not fixed. It has a slight vertical motion, not a pan, not a zoom. A standing body trying to hold still. Jimena keys Beto. Go to camera 2's position. On my way, Jefa. The wrong feed keeps looking across the meadow. People pass through it without reacting. A child runs directly in front of it and does not slow. A vendor's shoulder crosses the lens. A monarch lands on a paper cup near the lower edge of the frame and rests there. Orange wings pulsing. Beto comes through again. I'm at 2. Tripod is here. Cable is here. Sandbag is here. No extra camera. What's 4 meters left of you? Grass. Anything else? Paper cup. Butterfly on the cup. Stand there. A pause. Standing. The wrong feed changes. Beto appears in frame, walking toward the lens. Jimena's throat tightens. Beto, are you moving? No. On the screen, Beto takes another step. In the headset, the real Beto says, I'm standing still. Patty puts down the tlacoyo. Constanza says, Beto, describe what you see. Grass, tripod, crowd. You want me to wave? Do not wave. On the wrong feed, the Beto who should not be moving stops. He turns slightly, not toward the tripod, toward the production tent. Patty whispers, "It knows where you are." The feed begins to move. Away from Beto, through the crowd, toward the tent. Walking pace. Eye-line height. People do not step around it. The lens passes through gaps that no visible body creates. A woman carrying a stroller walks straight through the space where the camera would have to be and never notices. Rafa says, "I can kill two from the bus." Constanza says, "Don't." Why not? Because if you kill it, we lose the only view of what it's doing. That sentence changes the air in the tent. Because it is not production language anymore. It is survival language. The clock above the monitor wall reads 11:52, 8 minutes to the Guadalajara handoff. At noon, the festival stream passes to the network studio in Guadalajara for a 45-minute segment. Chapultepec goes to standby. The pressure drops. They can pull the rig apart. They can test every line. They only have to make it 8 minutes without cutting to camera 2. Constanza's face hardens into producer mode. "Listen to me. No one cuts to 2. Rafa, you have 1, 3, 4, 5. Use anything except 2. Jimena, eyes on active feeds. Do not try to identify the source. Not during live." Jimena says, "Understood." Constanza turns toward Patty. "Patty, stay seated." Patty sits. She does not pick up her food. For 2 minutes, the broadcast continues beautifully. Camera 5 catches the keeper explaining the orange pigment in the wings. Camera 4 finds a couple kissing under a jacaranda. Camera 1 gives a wide overhead of the meadow, all green and orange and sun. On camera 2, the impossible view walks closer. At 11:55, Rafa makes a mistake, a habit cut. The kind every director makes when the rhythm of a show is moving through their hands faster than thought. He taps 2. For less than a second, camera 2 goes to program. The program panel splits. Left side, the real tripod wide. Right side, the wrong eye-line view. A torn vertical seam between them. Not a wipe. Not a graphic. A tear. Rafa cuts away immediately. Sorry, off 2. But in that half second, the wrong feed changes direction. It is no longer moving toward the production tent from the meadow. It is already outside the tent, 6 meters from the open flap, looking in. Patty is in the frame, sitting on the folding chair, shoes off, food on her lap. Constanza stands at the wall, back to the lens. Jimena is visible from behind, ponytail, headset, right hand on the mouse. The invisible feed has crossed 200 meters of meadow in less than a second. Jimena says, "That was not walking." Constanza says nothing. At 11:57, the dedicated camera 2 panel snaps back to the correct tripod feed. For one breath, the wall is normal. Then camera 2 changes again. Wrong angle. Now at the lighting truss. Looking up at the metal frame, the feed moves past it, toward the back of the tent. Beto comes through the open flap, sweating. He sees the panel and removes his cap. No. On the panel, the lens enters the narrow corridor between the truss and the back wall of the production tent. In the real world, the corridor is visible through the cable gap. Empty. Cables on the ground. Grass. Tent fabric. No person. No camera. But on the screen, the corridor moves closer. Same cable runs. Same grass. Same fabric. Something is approaching through a channel the physical world refuses to admit exists. 60 seconds to handoff, Rafa says. Patty stands. Patty, Jimena says. Patty goes to the cable gap, crouches, and looks out. The panel shows Patty from behind, crouched directly in front of the invisible lens. In real life, there is nothing behind her. Patty turns around. On the monitor, the camera turns with her. She sees herself from behind. Her face empties. "Get away from it," Constanza says. Patty backs away. The feed does not follow. It stays at the cable gap, looking in, waiting. 30 seconds. Rafa says. Constanza leans close to Jimena. No matter what happens, do not look at that feed during blackout. Jimena turns her head slightly. What blackout? Before Constanza can answer, every screen dies. The tent lights flicker but stay on. The crowd outside continues laughing. The park has power. The production truck has power. The festival is not in blackout. Only the wall. 5 panels dead, 1 alive. Camera 2, the impossible feed. It is inside the tent now, behind Jimena's chair, 3 meters back, eye-line height. The frame shows the back of her head, the curve of her headset, the monitor wall in front of her, and inside the live panel, the same shot again. Jimena from behind. Inside that, another Jimena. Inside that, another. A tunnel of looking. Constanza says, Jimena, look at me. Jimena cannot. The feed takes 1 step closer. In the real tent, Beto looks behind Jimena. Nothing, he says. His voice breaks on the 2nd syllable. On the screen, the unseen camera lifts 1 hand into frame. Long fingers, too dark, too smooth. Not reaching for Jimena's shoulder, reaching for the cable at the back of her headset. Patty moves. She climbs onto a cable case, reaches behind the live monitor, grabs the power cord, and yanks. The panel goes black. For 1 second, there is no image anywhere. Then the other 5 screens come back. Rafa's voice hits the headset, panicked. We're back. Handoff in 10, 9, 8. Constanza says. Handoff only. No 2. The handoff card fills the program output. Vamos a Guadalajara. The Monarch logo turns in clean orange graphics. At 12 o'clock exactly, Guadalajara takes over. Chapultepec is off air. No one in the tent moves. Then Jimena removes her headset and places it on the desk like it might bite. It saw me, she says. No one corrects her. That is what makes it real. Beto walks behind her chair in a full circle. Nothing. He crouches, looks under the desk, looks at the spare battery case, looks at the tent seam. Nothing, he says. Patty is still holding the unplugged cable. Her hands are shaking. Constanza puts 1 hand on her shoulder. Good, Patty says. Don't say good like I'm a child. Constanza closes her eyes briefly. You're right. I'm sorry. The headset on the desk crackles. Jimena steps back. A breath comes through the earpiece. Slow, close. Not from any open channel. Not Rafa. Not Beto. Not Tonatiuh. Something breathing from 3 meters behind. Beto grabs the headset and throws it onto the ground. It keeps breathing. Patty crushes it under her shoe. The sound stops. Then Patty's phone lights up. Camera app open. Patty whispers, I didn't open that. The phone is in her hand, angled down toward the floor. But the screen shows Jimena from behind. Same angle, same distance, same impossible eye line. Patty turns the phone face down on the desk. For half a second, the image stays visible through the black glass. Then it dies. Constanza says, Everyone out, now. Outside, the festival is still beautiful. That is almost offensive. Children chase bubbles. Couples take selfies. Butterflies land on wrists. Vendors shout prices. A security guard eats chips from a paper cone. The world has not paused for the thing that just entered the tent. They move to the catering area behind the bougainvillea hedge. Jimena sits with both hands around a paper cup of coffee and does not drink it. Patty sits beside her, phone turned off and buried in her bag. Constanza stands for a while because sitting would admit something has happened. Then she sits too. Jimena says, You knew about the blackout. Constanza looks at her. What? You said not to look during blackout before the blackout happened. Constanza looks down at her coffee. Patty says, Connie. Constanza hates that nickname from anyone except old friends. She does not correct it. Finally, she says, I was assistant producer on another live event in 2021. Jimena's body goes cold. What event? A basketball stream. Indoor arena. 6 cameras, 1 control room. Patty says, "This happened before?" Constanza nods once. The operator saw an extra feed during a brief power drop. It showed the room from behind her chair. What happened to her? Ximena asks. She doesn't work live anymore. Why didn't you tell me? Because telling you would make you watch for it. Ximena wants to be angry. She is angry. But she also knows, instantly and terribly, that Constanza is right. A thing that feeds on attention becomes stronger if people wait for it. At 12:36, Sergio arrives. Platform engineering, mid-40s, glasses, tired shoes. The expression of a man who has fixed thousands of problems and knows immediately when something is not a problem. He sits at Ximena's desk, plugs into the rig, checks routing, logs, truck input, platform side, encoder history, signal assignments. He says nothing for 7 minutes. Then he removes his glasses. There was no 6th feed. Ximena says, "I know. No hidden input. No duplicate source. No wireless interference. No unknown signal in the logs. I know. There is no technical mechanism for what you described. I know." Sergio looks at the unplugged monitor. "And yet you all saw it." "Yes." He looks at Constanza. "The 2021 event?" Constanza nods. His face changes in a way Ximena does not like. "You were there?" "I was assistant producer." Sergio says a word under his breath that Ximena's mother would slap him for. Then he closes the laptop. The platform report will say temporary camera 2 interference during pre-handoff routing instability. No broadcast content affected. Patty says, "That's a lie." "Yes." "You're just going to lie?" "Yes," Ximena says. "Why?" Sergio looks at her carefully. "Because the truth becomes a legal meeting. A legal meeting becomes a safety review. A safety review becomes a mental fitness question. And the person who saw the recursive back-of-head shot becomes the problem instead of the thing she saw." "I saw it too," Patty says. Sergio turns to her. "You're not staff. I'm a witness. That helps." Patty raises her chin. "Then write the real report." Sergio is silent. Constanza says, "Sergio." He exhales. "I will write 2 reports. 1 boring platform report. 1 venue safety archive report. The real one stays local. If it happens here again, someone will find it. And if it happens somewhere else?" Ximena asks. "Then someone else writes another local report, and the reports never connect. That's how this thing survives." The words land heavily in the tent. Ximena asks, "How many times?" "That I know of, 3 before this." Constanza looks up sharply. "You said 1. I knew 1 you were involved in. There were 2 others. What happened?" "1 operator moved to post-production. 1 still works live but never alone. 1 disappeared from the industry completely." "Disappeared how?" Sergio does not answer. Ximena says, "What does it want?" Sergio looks at the monitor wall. "To be selected." No one speaks. He continues. "It appears among feeds, among angles, among choices. It wants the operator to choose it, to make it program." Patty says, "Program?" "The image that goes out. The image everyone sees." Ximena thinks of the half-second at 11:55, when Rafa accidentally cut 2, the split, the torn seam, the wrong view entering program. "What happens if it stays on program?" she asks. Sergio takes a long time to answer. "In the first case I know, it was live for 6 seconds. Viewers complained that the broadcast showed the backs of their own heads." Patty's hand finds Ximena's. Sergio says, "Most forgot. Some didn't. The operator didn't." Ximena says, "So it's not following cameras?" "No. It's following attention." Sergio nods. "Cameras hold attention. Monitors organize it. Operators choose it. You are the door." That is the sentence that stays with Ximena. You are the door. At 13:14, Guadalajara hands back. Ulises takes the wall for the afternoon block, because Ximena is not fit to work, and everyone knows it. Ulises is 22, cheerful, and humming under his breath. He places his coffee too close to the cable run. Jimena almost tells him to move it, then stops. From outside the tent, she watches him operate. Camera 1, drone. Camera 2, south meadow, correct angle. Camera 3, Beto, now pretending not to be afraid. Camera 4, Tonatiuh, back on gimbal. Camera 5, keeper. Program, clean. Everything normal. The wall looks innocent. That is the worst thing about equipment after impossible events. It goes back to being equipment. Jimena leaves with Patty. They pass the south meadow, the vendors, the families, the butterflies still landing on hands. Patty walks slightly ahead and to the left, blocking Jimena's sightline whenever a car window or shop front catches light. At the metro entrance, there is a convex security mirror above the escalator. Patty sees it first. Eyes down. Jimena obeys. They go to a restaurant in Roma Norte. Patty orders for both of them. Jimena keeps her phone face down. At 16:47, the phone buzzes. Sergio. Patty reads the message. Venue report filed. Reference number attached. Another buzz. Patty's face changes. What? Jimena asks. Patty reads the second message silently. Then she says, he says not to watch any recovered footage from today. Jimena's stomach tightens. What recovered footage? Patty does not answer. The third message appears. A file attachment. Cam 2 blackout, recovered.movie. Neither of them moves. The restaurant continues around them. Plates. Cutlery. Laughter. A waiter carrying a tray. A birthday song from the back room. Patty says, we delete it. Jimena says, no, I need to know what it kept. That is exactly why we delete it. Jimena reaches for the phone. Patty grabs her wrist. You are doing what it wants. That stops her. For 1 second. Then the phone unlocks by itself. The video begins playing face down against the table. They hear the audio first. Tent hum. Crowd noise. A cable dragging. Patty snatches the phone and runs to the bathroom. Jimena follows. Patty turns on the sink and drops the phone into the water. The screen stays lit underwater. Through ripples, the recovered video shows the empty production tent after they left. The dead camera 2 monitor, covered in black tape. Jimena's empty chair. Then the image turns. Not toward the tent flap, toward the cable Patty pulled. A hand enters frame. Long fingers. Dark. Wet-looking, though nothing in the tent was wet. The hand plugs the monitor back in. The bathroom lights go out. Total darkness. From outside the bathroom, every phone in the restaurant begins playing the same sound at once. Breathing. Slow. Chuels. 3 meters behind. Patty whispers, don't look up. Jimena looks up. She cannot stop herself. The bathroom mirror is no longer reflecting the bathroom. It shows the production tent. Open. Like a doorway. The monitor wall glows inside it. The 6th panel is on. It shows Jimena and Patty from behind, standing at the sink. And behind them, at Jimena's eye line, something finally has a face. Not human. Not monstrous. A face made from stolen views. Beto walking toward himself. Tonatiuh running. Patty crouched at the cable gap. Jimena's ponytail. The south meadow. The recursive wall. The bathroom. The mirror. It looks unfinished, because it is built from looking. Patty grabs the soap dispenser and throws it at the mirror. Glass cracks. The lights return. The sink is clear. The phone is dead. Outside, people shout and complain, and ask why their phones went crazy. Jimena stands very still. Then she says, we need the operator who survived. On Monday morning, Jimena goes to Narvarte. Patty comes with her. The second operator's name is Marisol. She is 41. She opens the door wearing sunglasses inside her apartment. Every reflective surface is covered with cloth. The television faces the wall. The laptop is closed and taped. The windows are open, but the curtains are pinned so they cannot reflect. Marisol looks at Jimena once. You opened recovered footage. It opened itself. That is what opening means now. Patty says, Can it follow her? Marisol shakes her head. It doesn't follow. It relocates. To where? Jimena asks. To the next surface that can show you from behind. Jimena thinks of phones, train windows, dark shop fronts, bathroom mirrors, security monitors, car doors, laptop screens, turned-off televisions, rain puddles, polished elevator walls. The city is full of places where a person can be seen from behind. Marisol gives her the rules. 1. Never watch recovered footage. 2. Never work a wall alone. 3. If a feed shows you from behind, break the display before it moves closer. 4. If you see it in a mirror, do not turn through the mirror. Turn fully with your body or close your eyes. 5. Never let it see you choose it. Jimena asks, How do we stop it? Marisol smiles without warmth. You don't stop it. Then what do? You deny it program. That night, Jimena returns to Chapultepec. Patty comes with her. Sergio comes too, though he calls it a bad idea the entire taxi ride. Constanza is already waiting near the place where the production tent stood. The meadow is empty. Festival banners move in the night wind. The city hums beyond the trees. In the grass where Jimena's chair had been, someone has left a monitor. Not theirs. No label. No power cable. No signal line. Still on. The screen shows the south meadow in daylight. Wrong angle. Eyeline height. Waiting. Constanza says, Don't look. But Jimena has not come to look. She has come to choose. Sergio says, This is stupid. Jimena says, Yes. Patty holds the hammer. Constanza holds the roll of black tape. Sergio holds the cable cutter even though there is no cable to cut. The monitor speaks in Rafa's voice. Stand by for handoff. Then Beto's voice. Jeffa, I'm at 2. Then Patty's voice. Why is that one moving like a person? Then Jimena's own voice. It saw me. The screen changes. Now it shows Patty from behind. Patty freezes. Jimena grabs her wrist. No, don't give it the look. The screen changes again. Constanza from behind. Then Sergio. Then all 4 of them, standing around the monitor in the dark meadow, viewed from 3 meters back. A perfect live angle. The thing has found the group. Not one witness now. 4. Jimena closes her eyes. That is the first act of refusal. She says, You don't get program. The monitor emits a tone. Low, electronic, hungry. Patty understands. She turns away and closes her eyes. You don't get program. Sergio swears, then does it too. You don't get program. Constanza is last. Her voice shakes. You don't get program. The meadow fills with monarchs. Thousands of them. At night, wings brush Jimena's cheeks, her hands, her hair. Tiny bodies land on her closed eyelids. She keeps them shut. The monitor screams without sound. Patty swings the hammer backward without looking. First strike. Glass cracks. Second strike. The screen bends inward. Third strike. The monitor dies. The butterflies vanish. No one opens their eyes for several seconds. Finally, Sergio says, It's gone. Marisol had warned them about that sentence. Do not say gone. Gone is a place. Gone is a direction. Gone is a promise the world does not make. But Sergio has said it, and the meadow remains quiet, and none of them corrects him. On Tuesday, Jimena goes back to work. Not because she is brave, because rent exists, and because fear does not cancel invoices, and because if she never looks at another wall again, then the thing has chosen her life for her. Patty comes with her. Constanza allows it. Every monitor has a manual kill switch taped to the frame. No glossy surfaces, no unused panels, no back left corner. Second operator on the wall at all times. Sergio has written none of that into the official procedure, but everyone in the tent follows it. The broadcast begins. Camera 1, Camera 2, Camera 3, Camera 4, Camera 5. Program output, everything normal, for 27 minutes. Then, in the lower corner of Camera 4, reflected in the sunglasses of a man in the crowd, Jimena sees herself from behind, 3 meters away, eye-line height, waiting. Her hand does not shake. She does not look longer. She does not choose it. She says, "Cut 4. The second operator kills the panel. Patty pulls the cable. The feed dies. Program stays clean. The broadcast continues. Outside, people clap because the butterfly keeper has said something charming. Inside, Jimena breathes. In, out. She is fine. Mostly. At 4:47 that afternoon, when the segment ends and the monitors idle, the black glass of the dead Camera 4 panel briefly shows a line of white text. No one else sees it. Jimena does. "Thank you for not choosing me." Then the text disappears. And somewhere in Mexico City, in a security office, or a live stream truck, or a child's phone held up to film butterflies in the park, a dark screen waits for the next person to forget that looking is not passive. Looking is selection, and selection is the door.